looking at these roasters tonight, it's a veritable who's who of who is that? That guy looks kind of familiar. And hey, didn't I see her on video on trial? Paul Bates, a master of the roast. Roast master Paul Bates. Master Paul Bates. Master Bates. You know, Paul, that Master Bates joke is the only reason I booked you for this. Jason and Ryan Belleville were booked tonight. Unfortunately, Ryan could not make it. Award-winning, critically acclaimed comic. He and I came up together doing stand-up, done a lot of shows with him. I can honestly say he's one of the best young comedians this country has ever produced. Fantastic guy. And Jason is his brother. There's she is, Gloria, two-time winner of the Comedy Award for Best Female Stand-Up. Also an incredibly talented actress and writer. All of that just makes her heroin addiction all the more tragic. In our last roast of Dan, we found it helpful for the two people who paid to see it to run a video clip pack of some of the greatest moments from Dan Redican's career. Amazing. A 60-year career. Summed up in 4 clips from Sharon, Lois, and Bram. I'm here tonight because, like the rest of you, when I heard that we were gathering to honor the life of Colin Mochrie, I assumed he was dead. Born in Scotland in 1930. I've known him more than 10 years, and I only remember him with less hair. Add to that the pasty skin and the beady eyes, the sly grin. Colin is just one black robe away from being Gargamel. One of the first times I did stand-up was on a charity show for Sick Kids Hospital at Second City. Colin was the host. And when I told him I was nervous to be performing with such big names as him, he looked me square in the eye, and I will never forget what he said. He said, "Ron, always remember, the Holocaust never happened." Without a doubt, Colin is the coolest guy I know with osteoporosis. Your next guest was simply named Sandy Jobin, until he married his high school sweetheart, Mr. Bevins, the gym teacher.
Whenever I audition for a part and I find out that they gave it, and I do mean gave it to Colin, I take comfort in the fact that they were just looking for a name, not a great actor. It's a fucking roast. What's happening? Oh, at his funeral? How dare you?
Thank you so much, Andy. Should have maybe put you up a bit later. That was quite bitter. Anyway, let's start the show. Your next guest starred in Comedy Inc. So let's let him try to dig himself out of that hole. Get used to it, Colin. The bubbles will be out of your reach all night, buddy. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. I had no idea this roast would be so vicious. Burn! I'm sorry, I gotta ask, Winston. Do you know what a roast is? I'll give you a hint. It's not where you dance around and tell them how beautiful they are. You know what the real shame is? Winston is one of the best stand-up comedians in this country. He hasn't told a joke in 10 years. I really have to apologize. I don't know how to explain it. I know he doesn't drink. Is it drugs, Winston? You want drugs? This isn't a roast. It's an intervention. Stop dancing. We miss you. Tell a joke. I think next time we'll roast him. Then he'll learn. Why am I crying? Why aren't they dancing?
Hard to follow Winston Spears with that scathing performance. Last of the great prop insult comics. Last month when we did the roast for Dan Redican, I was worried, you know, celebrity roast, Dan Redican, I was worried people might not know who he is. And then when only 2 people showed up, I said, oh no, they know. How many episodes of Whose Line did they do? 214? 214, thank you, Rain Man. 214 episodes. That was wonderful, thank you. We're gonna go to the casino later, do very well. Here's a card my son drew on, he's 15 months old. It's still funnier than most of the stuff you do. He improvised it. I apologize. Some people have said that the years have softened him, that he's lost his edge, and that today, after all this time in the business, Colin Mochrie is less funny than he used to be, and I will not accept that. I believe, as most of us do here, he was never funny.
His legion of loyal fans love him so much that when we roasted him last month, they refused to come.
What can you say about Ron Sparks that hasn't been said before? How about smart, crisp, clever? Or perhaps Clothes Horse. I don't think Clothes Horse has ever come up. Normally he looks like he just shit his pants, but now it looks like, no, it wasn't recent. I don't like her laugh. She's got this laugh, it's a great time. And the way she eats cheese, I hate the way she eats cheese. Nibble, it's like nibble, 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 like nibble. Take a fucking bite of the cheese, but no, it's just nibble, nibble, and she stinks. She smells like shit. Actually, I'm sorry, that's not fair to shit. Well, Paul Bates, I'm sorry, I'm like everybody else in the business. I forgot about him. You know, normally when we mock someone, it's making fun of their career and professional accomplishments. So what do? You know? Colin is nice. He's nice. You know what else is nice? Dry toast. It's nice. It's nice. But does it have to take every fucking job? Can't it leave a job for the bagel?
Dan pointed out he's not a comic, which is obvious now. Colin was in an episode of Little Moss. Dan and Jason were the showrunners who worked on the show. What? And then I worked on the show, so did Ryan. So can you imagine if a bomb went off in this room tonight? It would be funnier.
I say Ron Sparks achieved the same level of success. I don't think he would be as nice as Colin Mochrie. Sadly, we will never know. Colin is unique. He's unique looking. It looks like he caught a tiny glimpse of the Ark of the Covenant opening. And his face just melted a little.
Are you drooling because she's a hot potato? Or just because that's what people your age tend to do?
I'm an actress. I'm also not a very good one, so I make my money by taking my clothes off and showing off my boobs. So when I first was invited here, I thought it was going to be really easy. I thought I was invited to, I don't know, jump out of a cake or dance in my bikini, but obviously the dancing gig went to this guy.
I don't want to say your next guest has not worked in a while, but his last movie went straight to beta.
What an honor to be here, surrounded by so many talented people, and the other three, And as a stand-up, I think if I was to describe how I felt about improv, I would say they're not just a waste of stage space, but also of air. Should have said.
I've also lied about Colin's credits to try to get him work, but what I do is I leave a lot of them out. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for trying, Harry. It's amazing how many jokes he was able to cram into just 17 minutes of rambling. Floyd implied she was a heroin addict and a hooker. Simply because she's so wonderful, I cannot think of a single real thing that's bad to say about her. But then I remembered she was on How We Do It. Lori, I love you, and I don't care what you say about Colin. When you are up at this microphone, you will apologize for How We Do It.
This is exciting. Brigitte, actually, she took her notes out of her bra, but I keep mine somewhere else, so let me just... Just a second. It's way up there. It's like I'm at the airport. Okay, wrong hole. Okay, I wore a one-piece bathing suit on dates in high school, so the guys couldn't get at me. You're writing something to say about me. I see you right now, writing something to mock me with. I will break your bottles and smash you over the head. I'm addicted to heroin.
You were wrong, I wasn't writing about you, I was just doodling because I was bored. It's a roast! Why don't you just go out in the parking lot with Winston and dance around? It'll feel great. No one's feelings are hurt! He started Blackfly, and I honestly think I speak for everyone here in this room tonight when I say, I hope his car crashes into a ditch and explodes. This series was awful. I know what all of you are thinking. You're thinking, hey, what about the rest of the people in the car? Well, it's a small price to pay to get rid of history's greatest monster. Just a final warning to everyone, though, before he comes up, he has had a couple of glasses of wine, so the first few rows, you will get wet.
If a bomb did go off in here, Canada would lose a great bomb. It's not like I take every series that comes along. I'm not the first choice many times. It's just, look. I also want to thank everyone for memorizing all your jokes. That's lovely. I know. It's so much easier for us improvisers because we just off the top of our head. You guys work to make sure every syllable is funny, and of course, so much funnier when you lose your place and go, what? Oops. I do love the fact that you came up and you said right off the top, I'm not a comedian, which is something that some other people could learn. And you're older than me, right? I thought so. His anus has mice. Boom. Does that even make sense? Yeah, and he's so old, his anus has mice. Winston. What the fuck? And could you find a shorter, like 100 bottles of beer in the wall would have flown by faster than whatever the... And it's so creepy to have a man behind you with the feeling of bubbles hitting your head. These guys have rightly said, you know, I just have the one thing, and it's really worked out. I was very glad that Ron asked me to come up here, and it's always a chance to see some of these people, because it's not like you're going to see them on screen or anything. I have been lucky to work with people like this who always make you look better, and no, I didn't mean that way. That was actually, I was trying to be sincere there. Nah, fuck you guys. These guys are the future, God help us, of comedy. And they are all great.